Welcome back, everybody. We're excited for another installment in this series of videos designed to support some of our robotics purchases that we had the opportunity to invest in here statewide in Nebraska. And so I'm really grateful today to Jake Rudisil of Pitsco, along with Preston Frazier and Steph Forbes, also with Pitsco, and also Ashley Rasmussen of ESUCC for joining us for this conversation about some of those solutions that were purchased for grades 6 through 8. So our conversation today is going to go through where you as an educator can find resources to support you as you probably do everything from the unboxing of this particular item that you're curiously looking for more information on. You can probably find that on the page that you're accessing this video through, or through resources that we'll point to here at the start of the video. But as we go through, we'll break down each of the different purchases and give you a better sense of what those are. And in this series, we're trying to focus in on opportunities for where we could find an implementation place in the classroom so that these devices end up being utilized within, whether that's core content, before school, after school programs, etc. And so really grateful to have all these great minds together today to be able to talk through that. And so to kick things off, I'm going to maybe throw it over to our friends from Pitsco and ask, where could we go to for just ideas about whatever questions we might have to begin with, kind of the troubleshooting piece.
Got it. You guys want me to take that one to start with? All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen if that's okay. And this will just kind of be a general rule of thumb for anybody that's looking for anything related to the solutions and the curriculum that was received through this project. And so where they will want to live, give me just a second. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, they're going to want to live on Pitsco.com. And so one of the things that for those of you who have worked with Pitsco before, and those of you who maybe haven't and you're just learning about us, one of the biggest things that Pitsco Education focuses on is not just providing the materials, but also providing the support and the content to really help empower educators and learners of all ages to feel comfortable and confident working with these solutions and really impacting positive learning outcomes. So one of the things that you'll notice as you look or watch these webinars is there's a lot of content available and there's a lot of support available. So the first thing that I'm going to show you really quick is how to access our support page and what that means. So our website is www.pitsco.com. It'll bring you to this main page, and up in the upper right corner, there's a support link. If you click on that page, it's going to give you a lot of information on how to get in touch with our teams. We do focus on personalized support. So we have a variety of support teams, from your order support if you are needing to track logistics of an order, or you need to place an order, or if you need to return or whatever. And then we also have a product and technical support team who will help you with anything from questions on how to use a product in the classroom. If you're looking for resources and you can't find it, if you're looking for specs or device compatibility or anything like that, that team can help you there. And so you can connect with them in a variety of different ways. You can schedule a virtual meeting with them, which is becoming very popular these days. And when we're working with physical products, it's nice to have that video as well. Down here, you'll have all the contact information, phone, email, live chat. So on our website, there's a chat widget here. You'll just select the department that you want to connect with, and you can start a live chat in real time with them. So first and foremost, I'm going to point you to this page to start with. The next kind of silver bullet, so to speak, is the global search up here. So no matter what product that you have and what you're working with, if you come in here and you just do a search for, let's just say we're going to cover Tetrix Prime here in just a little bit. It's not just going to return product results for you to go purchase. It's going to return consumables that might be included in these kits. It's going to have different types of CAD files, videos, pages that talk about Tetrix Prime, and even teacher guides and PDF resources and those types of things. So this is kind of a silver bullet to go, hey, if I'm looking for something and I don't know what I'm looking for, I'm going to start with the global search up in the top. And if I find it, another place that you want to live is going to be on the product details page. So if I click on this product, it's going to give me the specs that I need to understand what it is. But then also, as I scroll down, There's resources there. So this has a teacher's guide that I can download for this one. And we can show some other samples here in a little bit that have many, many more resources available. But that's another way to work with Pitsco, is travel to the product detail page and make sure that you scroll down. And I think in a little bit, we're going to talk about the landing page. So I might hold on that one in just a little bit. But in general, when you're looking for support from Pitsco, www.pitsco.com. Support page would be the first place to go, and then the next place would be to go through the global search and return those results. So I'm going to kick it back to you, Andrew, and then we can talk about that landing page later if you'd like. Did I? Oh, there we go.
I think he's muted.
You're muted, Andrew. I was like, what happened there?
Nice thing is I can delete this. And I just get right back into it. This
I thought I closed out of the meeting for a second. I was like, did I close out of this?
All right. Well, then this will all get cut. And so I'll just jump right back in. Jake, thanks for referencing the ESUCC Pitsco page that we had a chance to collaborate on. I would certainly encourage folks to check that page out as well. And while you mentioned the Tetrix Robotics purchases that were part of this 6-8 band, let's go ahead and look at a couple of those and get a sense of what was available. And then we can talk specifically about some ideas for where that might meet classroom implementation. And so here's actually a page from that catalog. Walk us through, generally speaking, what's provided with these Tetrix Prime solutions.
Absolutely. So the physical kit that was included is the Tetrix Prime dual control set. And what this allows educators to do is to have the flexibility for how they implement the robotics side of the solution. So within the dual control, they'll have the ability to design robots that are RC controlled, so human controlled, as well as programmable. So students can really get the experience of designing a robot, understanding the physical aspects of it, how systems work, simple machines, complex machines, and how they work together, and drive them around before getting into the coding environment or into the coding aspect of it. And then with the curriculum guides that were included in the catalog, then teachers can decide which way they want to kind of take their class. If they want to focus purely on coding, they can utilize the kit and do the autonomous STEM unit. It's 15 hours worth of curriculum focusing on the basics of coding a physical mobile robot. It uses a block-based platform to code in. So students are focusing less on the design of the robot and the build of the robot and more on the coding application and incorporating sensors. So for example, in middle school, if you've been using a plastic building system similar to what we talked about yesterday with UB Tech, and your students might be ready for that next level of platform, this would be kind of that next step, because they're getting into a metal building system, more robust, a little more versatile, but still has the same ability to quickly design and build. So we design the system for there not to be a lot of tools needed, to not a lot of screws to be used in the design. It uses a quick rivet system, so students can really design, get models together, and iterate quickly with the build system, and then utilizing the curriculum to supplement it. So if you already have a robotics class going, and you might be using a plastic build system like UB Tech, for your first part of your semester, and you're wanting to provide a different opportunity, a different kind of construction, design, and coding opportunity. Second part of the semester, you can plug the autonomous in. If you're looking for a full-scale semester, then you can bring in the engineering mobile robotics and have an engineering component to it, and then add that coding component to it too. So they're getting kind of that dual experience working with robotics and coding. We also included the learning course. We have 2 e-learning courses, one for RC. So if you're not going to be focusing on the coding, focusing more on the engineering, there's an e-learning course as well as a course for the programming side of it. So those would be teacher resources, self-paced. So and once the teacher logs in and goes through it, they'll have access to it moving forward. So if they need to go back and reference it, they can. So trying to provide a flexible learning opportunity around the mechanical coding and robotics side of things.
Terrific. And I know one of the things we've talked about through this series has been in terms of the purchase, right? Like how many students that they serve per kit. And so I'm seeing here that there's 1 to 2 for the robotics set, and that these then packs have the 24, right? And so you would need a number of the sets for a class set.
Absolutely, yes. So the optimal setup is 1 kit per 2 students. You can go up to 3, but we don't recommend 3 just because we want to make sure that there's as much hands-on opportunities for all students.
All right. Well, and then getting a chance to kind of think through some of those. Ashley, I know it's been just a few months here since we placed these orders and materials have been coming in. As you're learning a little bit more about this, what do you think about this with regards to where it might meet our Nebraska classrooms?
Of course, as a science curriculum instructional specialist, that's where I kind of begin to see it and where it's going to integrate well into some of our middle school classrooms. And I'm just thinking like very superficially at this point, but into some of our engineering standards. Every one of our strands has got an engineering component. And I'm thinking specifically of, I believe it's, don't quote me on this, I think it's a 7th grade standard, but the engineering component is to design a solution to help mitigate the effects of a natural disaster. Or the other component of that could be to help relief that has as a result of a natural disaster. And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be cool if not only do the kids design a solution, but we actually get to build it and maybe test it? And where do these robotics pieces come into that? Whether it is the coding component, which I know I've had some teachers say, I don't know anything about coding. And I'm like, that's okay. There are other options, or the RC. But I love the idea of being able to take our standards in Nebraska have really, really focused on modeling and design. And I think we still do a lot of that paper pencil, which is great. That is a way that we can model learning. But this opportunity to be able to take, technology and use it to be able to truly design a real life, movable, usable model, and then have the kids using that to explain their learning. I think that's a really exciting time for us across the state.
Yeah. Absolutely, especially when you consider, again, as they were mentioning, I think it was Steph a moment ago, that these assemble quickly, right? When we're talking about those pieces. And I know if I'm getting back to previous webinars in this series that we were recording, we talked a little bit about some of the student resources so that the teacher doesn't have to be a coding expert to be successful with these solutions. And so I'll lean on our Pitsco friends to maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the engineering mobile robotics and the autonomous unit both have student and teacher guides. So really wanting to empower the students to drive their own learning. So they'll have their own guides that they'll use to work through the different activities and challenges. And then the teachers have the resource and all of the kind of knowledge and background information they need to help be a facilitator and a problem solver alongside the students. So making sure that the teachers have the resources that they need to feel confident and comfortable answering questions or being able to guide the students to, kind of problem solve and find the answers themselves. So both of those resources have student and teacher materials.
Terrific. Anything else as we're kind of wrapping up maybe our conversation on the Tetrix robotics pieces? I know sometimes we talk about hardware or its compatibility with, the tech tools needed to support that solution.
So there is an app. It's a block-based app. It's a proprietary app called ArduBlockly, because our Tetrix Max that we'll talk about in high school runs within the Arduino IDE. And so we developed a block-based version, kind of skin to run for the middle school. But one of the unique things about what the students will be experiencing when they are coding the Tetrix Prime robots is they'll be programming in block-based, but over to the right, they'll start to see the C code populating. So they'll start to kind of understand how that language is translating. So while they won't be coding in it, they can start to build that understanding and familiarity that then they'll be ready to engage with in high school.
Hey, Andrew, I might also add, when we're talking about device compatibility, software installation, any of those types of things, Pitsco really tries hard to mitigate any bottlenecks and challenges, but we recognize that that's going to be a challenge no matter what it is, with a lot of different platforms and devices out there and versions and so on and so forth. So leaning back towards the beginning of this call, when in doubt, if you have any challenges installing software or with device compatibility, contact the Pitsco product support team. They will work directly with you as an educator or even your district IT folks to be able to get those applications installed easily if it does require installation, or at least point you in the direction to make things a little bit easier on you as well.
And then Andrew, as part of the device compatibility as well, we're going to have a section on that landing page as well that has the device compatibility for all the different eligible solutions that were to be selected in that initiative. So.
Yeah, and so that's terrific, and not to put too many resources out there in front of folks, but it is sometimes helpful for, let's say, folks like Ashley who are trying to support with all these grade level bands, and there's a myriad of different resources to look up to have that sort of curated down to one page that is specific to the solutions that were provided in the mini catalog. You can certainly access those here, and this won't be the last time we reference it. You could jump to the end of this video where we'll spend a little bit of time getting a chance to look through that page, but it might be that you're accessing this actually on the page itself. So excited to just make sure that resources are out there and available, as we're all very interested in being supportive again of that implementation. And so maybe up next then in our foray into these solutions for grades 6 through 8, we'll look a little bit at the Arduino education offering. And so here we have that starter kit and would like to maybe just take some time to learn more about the potential that's here.
So the education starter kit, so in thinking about the different solutions that go into middle school. So Tetrix Prime is really more that mechanical side of robotics and coding, and wanting to provide a portfolio that allows teachers to kind of the option to bring in different forms of robotics or coding and different from a physical standpoint. So we had the mechanical with the Tetrix Prime, and now we're moving to more of the electrical side of things. So if you think about the controller that's powering the Tetrix Prime and really pulling back the hood of it and looking at what's underneath is what the students will be engaging with when it comes to the Arduino experience. And so this kit is designed for students with they don't have to have any prior experience with coding or electronics. The platform is a digital platform that they'll learn through. And we'll take them step by step through the activities. And there's also teacher resources available. But as the students are engaging with it, they're going to learn about electronics. They're going to learn about current and voltage in a real world application. So they'll be physically designing and working through experiences where they're seeing about testing the current and the volts. They'll be learning about digital logic while learning the basics of programming as well. So it's really easy to get started within the Arduino platform. The projects are fun and engaging. They incorporate real world topics. There's a lot of opportunities for collaborative learning and problem solving to go along with it. And there is some alignments to some STEM subjects, math and science, and some of the Common Core, as well as CSTA. So this kit is kind of that jumping off point for students to start understanding the basics of electronics and coding. There are 9 activities that the students will go step by step through. The teachers will have resources that coincide with those 9 activities. And then there's 2 projects at the end so kind of once students get that basic understanding of how things work, then they'll have that open-ended project where they'll apply their knowledge and allow for that creativity in the solutions that they design. The students will be working within the Arduino IDE, so they'll start to get some experience with C-based coding. And why that's important is within engineering careers, most engineers will use Arduino for prototyping. And so that C-based language will be something that would be a familiar language should you go down an engineering path. So we're providing students the opportunity to get some of that real world experience that they would be encountering should they go into electrical engineering.
Gosh, I love seeing that as a vision as we now, are transitioning to those middle grades that could certainly start to prepare them for things like that. And so it sounds like this is a bit more of an advanced solution compared to some of the other ones in the series at the younger grade levels. Ashley, again, not to put you on the spot too much with this, but as you're starting to explore these solutions a bit more and with your background, where do you see this meeting the Nebraska classrooms?
Well, multiple places. And one of the things that I like about this product is energy, electricity, waves. Those are things that are really prevalent throughout our physical science standards in the state. And I think, again, that opportunity to be able to not just learn about it, but to actually physically do it, whether it is that they're setting up different types of circuits, they're learning about how it is that energy is moving. I'm not as familiar with this product as I am with some of the others. I didn't purchase any of these personally, but I'm familiar with similar things. And I do think that the opportunity, because electrical components is something that's fairly abstract for students, so that opportunity to be able to work hands-on with it, to make it more understandable for students. But then also I'm thinking, again, going back and pairing this with some of the Tetrix to be able to understand, okay, so we've built the bot for this particular purpose. Now let's talk about what drives that. Like, how is it that bot is able to do the things that we have programmed it to do, and just going that much deeper into that learning process to really be able to see all the different components come together.
Absolutely. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head as far as that microcontroller is on there is designed by something, and it powers something. And that's a lot of times what students don't actually get to engage with very much. They have that kind of end product that's being powered and it's doing something, but really what's under the hood and is driving it, that context isn't there. And so again, wanting to provide that flexible opportunity, it could be half a semester of the Tetrix with the autonomous, half of the semester now we're going to go deeper into what's really driving it, and we're going to add Arduino. So wanting to provide that flexibility for teachers to really kind of build that course, whether it be a semester or whatever the need is, to be as flexible and kind of tailored to what it is they're wanting the students to experience.
Terrific. Well, in the time that we have, as we're kind of rounding past our 20-minute mark here, I'd like for us to maybe pivot to our conversation about the drone purchases in this particular set. And so I think we're going to lean on Preston for this particular solution. And so Preston, if you would kind of talk us through what we've got here and how we might be able to utilize this.
Yeah, I can take that one. And so within the mini catalog that you were able to select and choose from, 2 items regarding drones were the Tello EDU 5-pack, which in that you would obviously get 5 drones. It's the Tello EDU drone. And what that does, it's going to give you, the drone is really an out-of-the-box solution. You can open it out of the box and be ready to fly it within a matter of minutes. But it's going to give you the ability to do both programming and manual flight options through the app-based software. We recommend 2 to 3 students per drone with these. So a 5-pack would get you enough for about 10 to 15 students. But yeah, it's really, the drones themselves are awesome, but when you tie it in with the curriculum that we have provided to you guys as well, it's an extremely helpful tool. So I'm just going to jump right into the curriculum now as well to kind of show you that. The curriculum, the Tello EDU drone flight guide curriculum and field elements, it's really a career exploratory focused type of drone curriculum, to where a lot of the curriculum that you may see out there is really just teaching the kids how to fly the drone. This curriculum is really exploring various drone related careers. So let's say you're going to learn about being a drone pilot, but through the lens of a software programmer, or you're going to look at being a drone pilot through the lens of a urban planner or a construction inspector or anything along those lines. And so within this curriculum, it's really more career exploratory focused to get them excited about a bunch of various drone related careers. I believe there's 12 different activities, up to 120 hours worth of curriculum within that. And then there's activities and competitions and challenges at the end of each one of those activities. You also would get a drone arena and the obstacle elements that coincide with that curriculum. And so it's an extremely helpful tool. It really ties into CTE and career exploration and things along those lines. And at the end of the day, we've been looking at robotics and coding and all of that and then electronics into the robots, but the drone is just a flying robot. And so that's kind of where we've tied this in for you guys at that aspect, is that this drones are really impacting every industry once we start to think about it. I think the Learning Council actually just introduced their top 10 fastest growing ed tech trends for 2023 and beyond. And number 3 was drones. And so there's a lot of different industry applications to drones, and this curriculum and these drones and this hardware definitely ties into the positivity and the impact that they can provide to students.
Well, I know, having seen some of the different, I'll just say, obstacles in person, I was intrigued. I wanted to see what it would take to, fly some of those devices through, and the challenge that would come with trying to design that. And so, Ashley, I don't know if you all had the opportunity to put some of those pieces together and tinker with that at ESU too, but just even learning about this and hearing, from Preston and Steph, what are your thoughts regarding this particular solution?
I'm really intrigued by the fact that it's got such a great CTE and college and career ready component, because that's something that we have spent a lot of time as an ESU, as a Nebraska Department of Ed, with the college and career readiness standards. We actually have hired a specialist that is a CTE specialist, and she does a ton of work with all of our different teachers teaching a myriad of different courses. And when you're saying to me, it has such a great connection, all these different experiences where students are able to use the drone through the lens of a different type of career, I'm already thinking about bringing her in, to be able to talk about, okay, you touch a totally different group of teachers than I do. How can we integrate this into what they're doing in their classrooms and moving it even beyond, some of my specialty areas? So I think that's really cool. Not only that, drone is a cool technology. My kids have a drone, and for no other purpose than to just go play with it outside. But I'm just thinking, again, I love that, thinking a little bit deeper about, okay, what do we really use these for in the world? And what are those applications and those careers, and that ability to explore, a job that you may not even realize exists, or a job that you may not realize uses this kind of technology. It's really powerful for kids.
Sure.
Yeah, or to even realize that there are tools out there to accomplish tasks that you would not otherwise leverage that tool for without having had the prior exposure to it, I think is only going to create additional opportunities for that in the future, in variety of contexts, right? That's usually where innovation happens, is when you bring that learning from one place into context where it hasn't been utilized before. So absolutely love all of that. And I would say here, as we kind of bring this particular webinar to a close, would love to point folks once again to our Pitsco and ESUCC site for a lot of the resources that we've referenced. Again, you can certainly go to the Pitsco site. The curated version would be here as well through Pitsco for some of those Gear Up program purchases, which I really like to reference. And so check that out for some of those how-to videos, these webinars, and more. So with that being said, just want to say thank you to Ashley, to Jake, to Steph and Preston for their time, and encourage everyone to utilize the other webinars for the solutions at the different grade level bands. Thank you for paying attention throughout this webinar. We hope that you're able to utilize the Pitsco solutions in your classroom.